If you guys have had one of my sessions before, you know that it's incredibly interactive. And again, I know that I've been doing this for close to 20 years, but there are stuff that I don't know myself. So if something's working for you, pop it in the chat section. I can call that out and share that with the rest of us in the room. So we collectively are doing a masterclass, and it's really around how do we create kind of a digital marketing presence through just a simple digital flyer. Now, I know when I say the word flyer, everyone's like, oh, no, Brad, we can't. But it's actually pretty easy to do, and it can be quite impactful. So we are all small business owners, and we're all sitting in the room together. There's kind of no wrong or right. Thanks, Guy. Yeah, I love Tintin as well. So, yeah. And yeah, so that's distracted me a little bit, but let's move on. So just a little bit of a welcome and overview. I always like to ask the question, like, why are we sitting in the room? And it's really to talk through our digital presence. Now, a lot of us business owners, and I saw Tumi was in the room. So Tumi, I'm going to kind of pick on you a little bit, because Tumi and I have spoken around her challenges as a guest house owner. And Tumi was saying business has gotten really quiet, and thanks, Al. And yeah, so Tumi has had to actually go back and relook at the Google ads she's running and relook at the Facebook ads that she's running, and make sure that her digital presence is on par. But one of the things Tumi can actually do is create a nice digital flyer presence and get that distributed out to the right channels. So the big why is digital marketing really matters. Visibility and connection is really, really important. Your goal as a business owner is to connect with your customer. Liesl was talking about the spa and a specific focus on cancer patients. That's a very interesting space to play in. And Liesel's going to have to be very careful about how she kind of markets herself and the business, and how she positions the business visually. And we're going to talk around the importance of that as well. So I know Al's given you the sales kind of pitch on the app. I'm on the app myself. It really works for me. So I just want to explain how this session is going to work today. It's a little bit unusual. We're actually having 3 sessions in one. We're going to be talking around the visual. We're going to be talking around what we call the copy, which is the text, the wording. And then we're going to be talking around what do we do once we have that, and how important it is to align everything we're doing with a great strategy. And I'm going to help you guys put a one-on-one strategy together. We call it a napkin strategy, because you can literally write it on a napkin, and that's really the best way to move forward in this case. So, punting this again, there's the QR code if you guys want it, just to quickly go and download the app.
You're not sharing, Brad?
Oh, the whole time?
Yeah, sorry, I thought this was your preamble.
No, I hate everybody's like staring at me and not at the screen, right? No wonder a guy was like, I like the Tintin. Am I sharing now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Let's go back. No, we're not going to go back. Okay, you can't go back. We move forward. That's what we do, is SMMEs. So this is the slide I was on. Here's the QR code. You guys can see it now, right? And basically what we're looking at is, for me, again, the visual element in a business is really important. Every single time we approach a customer, we have a look at what they're doing visually. And you'll be surprised as a business owner, and Tumi can advocate for this. Tumi's got the most amazing photos of her guest house, beautifully shot. But if Tumi does not put that in her creative correctly, if she doesn't put together the visual element that she's going to take to customer correctly, she's just going to look like another guest house. So if the visual element is really important, the wording is really important, and how you take all of that together and approach your customer is absolutely vital. So today is all about practical tips on how to do that. I'm actually literally going to go through it and show you step by step using Canva. And I'm sure most of us use Canva here, so you guys can just pop the chat down, Let me get the chat back open so I can follow it myself. And you guys can then tell me whether or not you use Canva, but for me, Canva is probably the easiest and the best way to start. But there's loads of platforms out there that you can use to help push your digital visual marketing. So let's move to the next slide, which we're on already. So when we were kids and we were studying, I started as a graphic designer. I actually got kicked out of the institute. But anyway, that's a long story. So, and I moved into something completely different and I got back into it again. When we were graphic designing, we started to look at how do we occupy a specific space. So now the challenge is that we have this little digital banner that we're going to give to Al to put on the app to market our business. What the hell do we put in that little space? How do we use that in the best way possible? The best examples that you can use to help motivate you is posters for events. Because these guys have to put the most amount of information on the smallest spaces. So if you think about the last event you attended, whether that poster was printed and put on a poll, or whether you saw it visually on Facebook or a friend sent it to you and said, we've got to go to this, those guys have tried to use that space as creative as possible. And then we can now take some examples of what are they actually doing. So firstly, what they're doing is they're setting a feel. So if you look at this poster that I've shared here for the event at the Met, you've got immediately a feel. Now, Triumph or Henrietta is going to go, this is not for me. Immediately, by just looking at it, it's not for me. That guy is staring at me on the soundbox, that's not for me. I'm too old, I'm too young, whatever. So your customer's doing the same thing. So if you're popping a photo on there because you're too lazy to find another photo or because it's the only one you could find, you're probably pushing a lot of your customers away from you. So when we move into Canva, we're going to have a look at the templates they're going to give us for these digital posters, but we're going to also be editors. We're going to be very visual and we're going to be very vigilant around what are we actually going to choose. So I am really, really pedantic around putting as much effort into this as possible. So yeah, Tumi, I know that you are on Canva, so I'm going to keep using you as an example, unless somebody else wants to just pop their business name down in the chat and a little bit of what you're struggling with, and I will also pull you up as an example. Real-time examples are always the best way for us to drive the messaging. Great. So let's have a look at the poster. So we've got good design, right? I don't believe the design is bad. Might not be for me, but I think they've used that space pretty well. Psychology around coloring. Yeah, they've created this feel that's going to resonate with someone specific. So that is sorted. We can tick that off. Font. Now, a font is a kind of a creative way of saying the wording. Now, remember, your wording lives in a graphic body. So you can say hello, and you can write out the word hello. But if you just change the styling, the graphic of that hello with different types of fonts, play around with it, it's going to send different messages. It's either going to shout hello, or it's going to be soft and gentle, or it's going to be abrupt and in your face, or going to be too small for us to pay attention to. So when you actually take wording and you put the wording down in your ad, and you go off and you choose a font, a design for that wording that you like, it might not necessarily mean the customer likes it. And that has been my biggest thing through all these sessions that I do. And I recognize some of you from joining the previous sessions. You will know I'm all about what does your customer expect from you. So these designers have put this flyer together with an expectation that they are going to target a specific market. And they've done it very, very, very well. This is an old flyer, so don't stress about the timing on it, etc. But it is still relevant around the concept of using it as a reference. In terms of balance and flow, so when we talk about balance and flow, so you guys are going to say, Brad, hang on a sec. This is just a flyer. I'm just putting stuff on here and I'm sending it out. If you're doing that for your business, you're not going to be lead generating as much as you should. So it's very, very, very important for you to lead generate through the creative that you do. And when you do this design, this poster design, and you send it off to Al to upload on the app, or you put it onto your website, or you share on your socials, you have to go back and gauge what impact that flyer has had. Okay. So sidebar. One of the things that I talk around a lot is, as small business owners, we grow our businesses by word of mouth. I've not spoken to a single business owner out there that has not said that to me. The problem is that the word of mouth is reliant on just that, spreading the word. And sometimes we get so busy in our businesses that we don't have the opportunity to do that, and we can't encourage that. But actually you can. If you take this digital creative that you're going to put together today with me, and you pop that into a community group, that's going to help drive word of mouth. If you put this creative together and you send it out, and somebody picks up that ad and they use that and they contact you and you do the work for them and you do a great job, that is how you build your word of mouth. That is how you grow your presence. So it's still word of mouth, but you are actually very much involved in how much that spreads. But if your creative is if somebody can see it's a template on Canva and you haven't made any effort to do some editing and design work, you're going to have a problem further down the line because you're going to disenfranchise yourself from your client. So I know I'm kind of overemphasizing the importance of a simple flyer, but honestly, I've done this for a long time. And if you don't get the basics right, you're really not going to actually get anywhere with your creative, and you're going to get really frustrated. So let's jump onto the do's and don'ts before we move into Canva and start doing some practical stuff. And again, guys, please pop down in the chat what you do. If some of you have said it before, you're more than welcome to repeat it. What you can also do is you can just put down your case study, what you're struggling with. And even if it's design, if you can say to me, Brad, I don't know how to choose the right font, or I don't know how to choose the right images, please pop that down in the chat. I'll pick up on your business and I'll give you a bit of a guideline. And that's also a benefit of joining the session. Morning, Amugile. I hope you're doing well. So the do's and the don'ts. I'm going to read this out because if we podcast this, then at least the person listening to it on audio will be able to understand what we're talking about. So the first do's is illustrate your brand with images. Try and avoid a lot of copy. Try and keep it quite simple. Now, I know the previous example, I've shown you quite a lot of wording on the ad. That's because that wording is necessary to connect the actual event to the customer. But a lot of us don't really need that much wording. A lot of us can redirect the customer through a QR code or a website to actually the area in the space where we can have a lot of wording. Secondly, use a variety of imagery. So this is a big thing for me. We have to, I don't know how to say this. I'm going to say it and how it comes out, but we have to be aware that we are multicultural. If you're selling a product that talks to different cultures, be aware of that. Because if I'm in a specific culture, if I'm operating in a specific space, or I have a specific faith, or I have a specific, and a culture can be, I belong to a skateboarding group and we are a culture on our own. We hang around skateboarding parks and we wear baggy jeans and our caps the wrong way and we are a culture. So just be aware of that. And if you're selling to multiple, consider taking what you've done and duplicating it and targeting specific areas, because people would appreciate that. It's nothing worse when you are buying a product and the imagery and the marketing around that product doesn't really target you. You kind of start to feel a little bit disenfranchised. So yeah, so just be aware of that. It's a big thing for me. And I'm not saying we must, be too pedantic about it, or we must make sure every photo has a this and a that and a that person. I'm just saying be aware of it. If you have a restaurant and you want to target specific target audiences in that restaurant, change your imagery to suit those target audiences. That will go a long way in driving your message. Okay, consider all aspects of each picture. So this is interesting. This is meaning when you pop a photo up there, And I can clearly see that it's not South Africa, or that is not a South African, or not even an African. It's important for you to know we need images that relate to our circumstances. We have a very unique environment, and we need to capture that. So if you're putting a gorilla video together and the car's on the left hand, driving the left-hand side instead of the right, it's going to make a difference. People are going to be subconsciously, they're going to pick up, this is not for me. This is an outside. And if we've learned anything from, we see often how marketing people make mistakes about mistargeting their products. We know that we're very sensitive about that, and rightfully so. Okay, use pictures and videos as conversation pieces. So I'm actually not keen on this. I don't do this. I don't ask questions in my posts. I don't ask for feedback because I'm petrified I'm not going to get any. We have this problem as small business owners where we constantly undermine ourselves and believe we have no real impact unless we influencers. But I do think that if you're targeting a specific community group, so let's say you've joined Facebook and you are Tumi. Tumi has, guys, if you ever want to go to a beautiful guest house, it's in Witbank, if I'm not mistaken, book it, go there. Tumi's brilliant. So if, let's say, for example, you Tumi and you want to join a specific kind of grouping, a community group around tourism in the area, and you want to create a flyer for that, Tumi can then ask the conversation. She can start something because she's in a specific space. But if you're generating a specific artwork, don't ask a random question in there because you're not going to get a lot of response. Okay. So remember, I don't know if that was just with me, but remember that when you start a conversation, people are fatigued. If you're asking a random question, or you're asking someone to fill in a poll, and you don't have a lot of followers, you're not going to get a great response. And also another tip is, don't put money behind it. Don't put money behind your poll, or your inquiry, or your question, or your engagement. You're not going to get very far with that. Don'ts. Okay, so picture mills are basically, you go to Google and you look for a picture of a guest house in Witbank, take the first image and you use it and you just keep using them, or you use similar images. So you can actually create your own imagery with AI, but also up and above that, don't be scared to shoot your own photos. Poncho, nice to see you, brother. Don't forget to shoot your own photos. You guys have got amazing cameras. Go out there, shoot your own content and use it in your own ads. Don't be judgmental. That kind of rawness really goes a long way. Also, don't overuse the same creative. Change and up your creative as you go along. And don't select long videos. Very important. So let's get into a little bit of practical, and then we can move into the typography. So what I have done is I'm in Canva. So you guys can all see my Canva here. Just a thumbs up from someone out there. Al, you there still with us?
We can see you.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so we are on Canva at the moment. I like Canva One. It's a free account. I don't pay for it. So if any of you that have upgraded, kudos to you. But for us, smaller SMMEs and the ones a little bit concerned about budget, I don't generally do this. So what I tend to do is I use the free version and I kind of navigate around it. You can still get away with doing some really great stuff here. When you log into Canva, this is basically what you're going to see. Another sidebar. Try and create a Gmail account for all your marketing. So you would create, let's say, sorry, Tina, I'm really picking on you, but okay, let's pick on Ultra Intellects Gardening 2025 at Gmail, and you set it up. You use your phone number as the owner, and you set up a marketing Gmail. That's very important because everything that requires a Gmail can be put into one Gmail address. You never ever have to worry of it getting lost or a marketing person coming into your business and then leaving and taking all your stuff with you. I, however, have logged in my personal capacity because I have a Gmail account that's linked to the business. So just ignore my details on the top. Let's get into it. First thing you're going to do when you land here, you're going to get what you've done recently. So if you guys can see what I've done recently, I've been playing around. I did a little poster with Kev, which is my pup. It's her birthday coming up. I hope she doesn't, yeah. And then you've got a furniture design that I played around with, and then I played around with a dummy design. So what you've done recently won't be lost. It'll always be on Canva for you. So you can have fun and play, but let's get into it. If you want to create a design, you've got to click on Creative Design in the canvas space, top left-hand side. And then what you need to do is select your canvas. This is the page you're going to work on. Now, I've popped in the word digital flyer because that's kind of what I'm looking for. But here's the kicker. You can choose any canvas, any size canvas you want. You can put banner ad in there. You can put whatever you want that suits your business. But if you choose, for example, infographic canvas, because you like the sizing of it, and you click on it, the templates you're going to be given are all infographic-based templates. And we don't kind of want that. So we're going to make life easy for ourselves. We're going to click on flyer. And again, if you guys have got questions, please pop them in. I see there's a few messages. I'll get to you guys now. And then we've got the flyer. Now we have a blank canvas. Two things you must know. You cannot resize your canvas without paying. So choose the right canvas straight away. You can crop your canvas later, but it doesn't show up nicely. So I'd rather pick a specific canvas size as you start going on. So you can decide, okay, you know what? I want a little square ad. So you find a little square template, or you type in the sizing, and it'll give you that square ad. This for me is suitable. I would go with something like this as a starter. A couple of other things. If you have a look at the screen, and you'll see that some of the designs have little crowns on them, they want you to upgrade to use them. Don't even pick them. You don't need them. So now we scroll through this, and now we're looking for a specific design. So let's go H&D Staffing Services. Hey, Henrietta, I hope you're doing well. Hey, we do recruitment for specialized in mining, manufacturing, construction industries. We specialize in engineering, technical, and operation functions. So now Henrietta needs to market. Who will Henrietta be marketing to? So she's put it down here. She specializes in mining, manufacturing, and construction. So Henrietta is not going to do one poster. She's going to do 3. So remember, you're targeting specific industries. You want to use this little space as best as possible. You're not going to have space to talk through mining, manufacturing, and construction. Rather focus on mining, manufacturing, construction separately, so that you can then send that flyer to somebody in manufacturing, and they're not going to feel like Henrietta is a jack of all trades. However, on her website, she will have all the specializations. So you kind of see how it starts to work, right? So now we want something construction-y, okay? So I'm not happy with what I'm getting here. I want something that's more construction. You know, the typical, and immediately the colors that come up, bad. The colors that come up are going to be yellow, right? We know this. Okay, let's see. What did I tell you? Yellow. So now this is where Henrietta has an opportunity to take this visual element and play around with it. Does she introduce a bit of pink? Does she play around with different colors? What can she do to get attention? So let's say we like this. So we click on it. It comes onto our canvas, and we're ready to rock and roll. This is technically the work created for you. But this is where you now want to play. You now want to start playing around with those images, because an image of a guy hitting, it looks like a piece of glass, and this is not a back actor. Hey, this is a specific name. Piece of machinery. Henrietta might have her own, and she would need to do this and upload it. Henrietta, how you would do that is simply drag from your desktop onto this, and it will change the image for you. It's all you've got to do. Your image is changed. So you now have a look and feel. That's going to give you a flyer that you can use. How do we work around the wording? So we're already a half an hour in. Can you believe it? So we're going to shoot back to the presentation, and we're going to hit a couple of questions before we move into wording.